2025 is the year where the market for crypto opened up for the big banks, and now almost every single bank, we're talking central banks, even legitimate large time banks in the US like JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, they're all on board. But what's crazy about this is the central bankers that have been pushing CBDCs for years and, talking about how, public blockchains are not going to be the focus, that we need to make sure that we retain, control of these systems. They're now testing legitimate public blockchain-based networks for blockchain-based monetary policy using smart contracts to automate tools like interest on reserves, repos, and even asset purchases in real time. This happened back in May. And what happened in 2025 was that the OCC, the FDIC, and even the Fed basically gave banks the green light. They gave banks the green light to move in on crypto, tap into crypto, and also even offer crypto-based services. What's even crazier about this, right, is if we go over here. So this got announced on the 29th, right? New, Rack Bank becomes the first UAE bank to offer crypto. Retail users can now trade Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and even XRP directly in AED. This is going to become a very common thing. We are going to continuously see more and more banks doing the same exact thing, offering crypto-based services, offering crypto-based, trading, borrowing, lending, things like that, all through a banking app. This is how the big banks remain a big player. If they don't start doing this, guess what? They will fall greatly behind. It's only a matter of time. And this is where we start to really see the big shift. Now, what's crazy about Rack Bank is if we actually go back just a little bit in time, right? Going back to 2021, big shout out to RizXRP for this. We have Rack Bank, also known as the National Bank of Ras Al Khaimah. I hope that I'm saying that name correctly. An emirate in the UAE is plugging into Ripple's global bank-centric blockchain network RippleNet to enable live retail remittance payments to customers in Axis Bank, which, by the way, Ripple also has a partnership with Axis Bank, or at least work with them a little bit. And this is in India. And we have UAE's Rack Bank taps Ripple for instant blockchain payments to India back in March of 2021. And it's crazy because these are those long-term, announcements that we go back to that's still extremely relevant today because of what we're starting to witness with crypto. This is why whenever we utilize like an old article when it comes to like Ripple, just research or talking about a specific subject around XRP, we hear these people say, oh, but that's an old article, so it doesn't mean anything. It actually means everything. It's an argument point that when we go back in time and we witness what's happening now, it all started then, right? And Ripple was there at the forefront. They were at the center point of all of this. Now, I bring all of this up because we also have over here, Ripple announces Zanbank and Mamo as its first blockchain-powered payments clients in the UAE. Ripple has been focused on the UAE for a very long time now. It really first started back in 2021. And even prior to that, they still had some, major moves that they were making in the UAE. But focusing on it now, they continue to make a ton of noise in the UAE. But also, when we think about what happened recently, we go over here. Big shout out to Chad Steingraber for this. Senate Banking Committee yesterday on the Clarity Act crypto market structure note, beyond its focus on crypto, the bill also authorizes banks to engage in DLT and digital asset activities like custody, lending, market making, and operating blockchain nodes. Here we also have that quote here. Plus, it mandates the SEC to establish a micro innovation sandbox as well. But this basically gave banks that green light. Now, I'm bringing all of this up because we just got clear confirmation from Ripple that the shift is happening. What shift are we talking about? Well, if we go back to the beginning, right? Central banks are testing blockchain. And if central banks are testing blockchain, that means that other banks are also testing blockchain. Traditional banks. We're talking about the biggest players out there, JP Morgan, Bank of America, you name it. And here we have the announcement from Ripple. The shift is happening. Banks are investing in blockchain. 100 billion plus invested in blockchain companies since 2020. 700 billion a month in stablecoin volume. 18 trillion projected in tokenized assets by 2033. Our latest report with CB Insights and UKCBT org uncovers how financial institutions are shaping the future through strategic investments, partnerships, and emerging use cases. 2025 is the year everything is changing. Here we have how traditional finance is investing in blockchain. The shift is undeniable. Traditional finance is making a decisive move into the digital asset space as blockchain unlocks cheaper, faster, and more accessible services and opens up doors to new finance use cases. Institutional blockchain adoption and demand is quickly ramping up. Ripple's own research found that 90% of global finance leaders expect blockchain to have a significant or massive impact on finance in the next 3 years. Growing adoption is fueled by blockchain's proven benefits: near instant settlement, low-cost transactions, 24/7 availability, increased transparency. Banks and financial institutions are no longer deliberating on its impact, but are instead integrating the technology as a foundational component of modern finance. Here we have blockchain and finance. At its core, blockchain is the foundational technology that powers digital assets like cryptocurrencies, stablecoins, and even tokenized real-world assets, enabling value to move as information moves today, securely, transparently, and without a central authority, aka the Internet of Value. Take cross-border payments for an example. By reducing intermediaries associated with traditional payment rails, blockchain can dramatically lower the time and the cost associated with moving money across borders. Transactions can be processed in seconds, not days, and settled 24/7, 365, unlocking new levels of liquidity and market access for institutions and enterprises alike. With features like automated compliance, smart contracts, and built-in programmability, blockchain is creating a more efficient and inclusive financial future that meets the needs of emerging and established markets. And then, of course, we do have the centerpiece. Financial institutions are also turning to blockchain to streamline complex operations, reduce exposure to legacy infrastructure risk, and enable new digital asset use cases like fractional ownership of RWAs. And with recent innovations on the XRP ledger, automated market makers, a permissioned decentralized exchange, alongside growing regulatory clarity, it has never been easier for financial institutions to engage with decentralized finance in a compliant, scalable way, aka let's bring the institutional wave to the XRP ledger to make sure that institutional DeFi becomes a reality. Blockchain adoption in banking. As the blockchain industry matures, banks are making strategic bets by investing in companies that are redefining digital asset custody, RWA tokenization, and broader digital asset infrastructure. The report features a comprehensive analysis of investment and partnership activities from more than 8,000 blockchain companies and 1,800 banks over a 5-year period, including direct investments, mergers and acquisitions, and strategic partnerships. Here we actually see, down here from CB Insights, data included in a report found that banks participated in 33 blockchain-related mega round funding deals, 100 million plus, between 2020 and 2024. Institutions such as JP Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, and even SBI Group were especially active investors and participated in multiple funding rounds for firms developing blockchain-based financial infrastructure. The top use cases included institutional infrastructure related to trading, staking, and tokenization, blockchain and global payments, and digital asset custody. This helps paint a clearer picture of how banks are reshaping or shaping their long-term digital asset strategies through targeted investments and the inevitable impact that this will have on the finance system writ large. So this is crazy because this is clear confirmation that the biggest players out there that were against, crypto for so long are now going all in. This is wild to see. And of course, regulation in the road ahead for blockchain and financial services. Financial institutions are putting blockchain to work, diversifying portfolios, enabling crypto payments, offering custody services, tokenizing assets, and more. Because digital assets are no longer optional, investing in infrastructure, forging fintech partnerships, and offering new financial services has become necessary to an institution's longevity. Banks that are moving from pilots to practice will bolster their competitive role in the global economy with support from cutting-edge technology. Nonetheless, the financial infrastructure of the future will depend on robust security, regulatory clarity, and shared standards, giving institutions a common language to integrate digital assets into existing systems and helping regulators monitor activity at scale. This is confirmation that crypto's about to be integrated into every single major bank's infrastructure. I want you guys to realize at what phase of this technology we actually are. We already started to witness the big moves on regulation. That opens up the door to integration. The next step is utilization of the tech at scale. Guys, it's no longer a game of, oh, I wonder if this is going to happen. It's happening now. Ripple is confirming this. They're saying that the shift is happening now. And guess what? It's very clear when we see what happened over just like the last week. USDC is coming to traditional banks. Circle partnered up with FIS or FIS Global to bring USDC to banks. The announcement comes after the recent passage of the Genius Act. USDC's $64 billion market cap could explode as banks modernize payments. Guess what? This also means the same thing for RLUSD. Banks want to tap into stablecoins. Also, on top of this, PNC Bank partnered up with Coinbase to offer crypto services. On top of that, Standard Chartered just recently became the first global bank to offer institutional trading for Bitcoin and Ethereum. And $71 billion Old National Bank is giving clients direct access to Bitcoin and crypto trading. Our clients want exposure to crypto, and we want to help them manage that. Legacy banks don't want to be left behind. Check it out.
Well, I think a lot of us in the industry are trying to figure out how stable coins are ultimately going to change how money moves in the U.S., how money moves outside the U.S. I do think it's going to create good opportunities for us all. And with respect to crypto, I think we all need to realize that crypto is going to be here for a long, long time. And so we have to find ways to help our clients acquire and custody those assets. Up until just recently, I think we were all a little bit gun shy about moving into those spaces, but clearly that's the way the future's going, and we're going to have to participate at some level.
Just to clarify, would you make money on being the custodian of the cryptocurrency, on the trading? I mean, how is this a line of business for you?
Yeah, I think, we help clients manage all sorts of assets, and we look at that as just another asset class that increasingly our clients want to have exposure to, and we want to help them manage that money.
All right, Jim Ryan from Old National.
Well,
every single bank is on board now. The markets are way too big to ignore. Crypto hitting a $4 trillion market cap. Tokenized assets going crazy. Stablecoins hitting $270 billion in market cap, becoming 1.1% of the global M2 money supply. The shift is here. We no longer have to wait. The big banks are prepping these markets for mass adoption at a time where retail is barely here. People keep saying, Nick, you keep saying that retail is barely here, but they're clearly here. No, they're not. Not like back in 2020 into 2021. We have witnessed retail get wiped out time and time again. The retail crowd that was here back in December and January, they got wiped out. They got tired of the 6 months of downtrend and sideways price action. The institutional players do not care about the price action. They are here. They're planting seeds. They're planning to utilize this technology. They want to integrate this technology. This will become a core piece of finance, of banking, of everything around us. The shift is happening. It's here now. This is clear confirmation of that. And I want you guys to realize how big this will be, especially for assets like XRP. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.